Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, a scenic town that on the surface boasts friendly people and bustling business. But it's beneath the surface that Bridgewater's most passionate endeavor bubbles, a passion that's exploding. This program is dedicated to the men, women, and children of Bridgewater's martial arts community and their supporters who have helped define their town not only as the main street of the South Shore, but as a martial arts mecca.
I started studying Waijiru Karate in Mahone Bay in January of 1980 under the tutelage of a gentleman at that time by the name of Bill Marshall. I studied with him for about 4 years. He closed his dojo, and then I started studying in Dartmouth with Jim Maloney, one of his senior students, Dave Ryan, as well as Clayton Hickey. And I continued studying with him for a number of years, and eventually opened my own dojo in Western Shore. From there, I moved to Bridgewater, and this dojo's been here for about, I guess this is our 7th year coming up. We have approximately probably 60 students, children, adults. I maintained my black belt in November of 1984. I continued studying and advanced, and presently I am a Yandan, which is a 4th degree in Weiji. I'm a senior member of the province as far as teaching is concerned, and dojo owners, and also a member of the Nova Scotia Waijiru Testing Board, which allows me to test people for Shodan ranks, Nidan, and any rank below my own.
Okay, my name is Amu Barry Smith. I am a Laikon Tatlo, or 3rd level, 3rd degree black belt. I've been in this style for 12 years. I started, actually 13 years. I started early in 1981, training as a white belt. I gained my black belt in March of 1989. Now in harness, there was no set time limit. There's no such thing as at such a time you will be at such a belt level. You progress at your own speed, at your own desire. The longer period you take between belts, the more you gain in between.
My background is 14 years in the martial arts in some different styles and things. I've also very experienced in weight training. I've been doing that basically since I got into martial arts because the two go hand in hand. My wife and I have started our own personal training business. We do one-on-one consultations with clients. We do group settings. We do diet and nutrition. We do personal handwritten programs. We go into people's homes. They can come to us. Anything like that. I also do one-on-one training, kickboxing as well. If people want, I can come to their home and we do hour sessions, one-on-one. We do nutritional counseling. We set up people on diets to lose or gain weight. Anything that they'd like, we can accomplish. Like, it's really a personal touch thing we have.
I started Taekwondo when I was about 20 years old. I'm 28 now. I started mainly because I was a big guy who found that when I was out in public, people would try me, like try and see what I could do, just because of my size. I weigh 240 pounds, and people would ask me, you know, I want to fight, right? So I always wanted a way to defend myself. And I found when I joined Taekwondo that I went from being somebody not necessarily who went out looking for a fight, but to somebody who could back away from a fight if I had, or if I could. Right? Martial arts for me has been a very calming experience.
The history of this system is called Waijiru. It was named after its founding master, Kenbun Weiji, who spent approximately 13 years in China studying under a Chinese wushu master by the name of Shu Shihua. When he was about 20, he went to China, the southern part, Fujian province, because the Japanese had invaded his island of Okinawa and had put it under a military regime, and he didn't want to serve in the Japanese army, so that was one of his escapes, to leave Okinawa or pay off a local official, which was a good thing at the time, if he had the money. Like I said, he spent 13 years there. He studied with Shu Shihua for 10, and then opened his own dojo for 3. One of his students became involved in an altercation and killed another individual, and because of it, he closed his dojo in China and moved back to Okinawa, swearing that he would never study or teach karate again or even talk about it. But while he was back in Okinawa, some individuals discovered that he did indeed know karate, and they tried to convince him to teach. And he moved to the mainland of Japan, where again someone else found him and convinced him finally to teach. A gentleman by the name of Ryu Tomoyoshi. He studied with him for a couple of years and then convinced Ken Buenwei to start teaching the public. He taught his son, Ken Iweiji, who he passed the system down to. Ken Iweiji taught a gentleman by the name of Ruko Tomoyoshi, who was Ryu's son. And Ruko Tomoyoshi taught a gentleman from Boston by the name of George E. Matson. And he brought the style back to Boston. And a gentleman from Nova Scotia, Micmac from Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia, by the name of Jim Maloney, studied from George Matson in Boston, and he brought the style back here to Nova Scotia. And that was in 1973. And it's been in the area basically since 1975. And there are approximately right now 12 Weijuru dojos in the province. Well, what would make this system unique is that it can be considered probably one of the few systems, to my knowledge, that can be considered a Chinese Kung Fu system as well as an Okinawan karate system. Because of the main katas and forms in the system, which is a Chinese influence and which haven't been changed from the day that Ken Buenwei brought them back from China. So there's still a Kung Fu system. The conditioning that we do, body conditioning, not so much the sit-ups or push-ups, but actually physical contact to toughen it and get the body used to contact and strikes. We kick with our toes, which is unusual in a martial arts system. We do drills with that. We do concentrated strikes, single knuckles strikes. This system uses a circular block, which is unique to this and a couple other Okinawan systems, but this one in its end is particular in the point that it uses the hands to grab more with the blocks and redirect and control for takedowns and sweeps. Dedication sets an individual aside. There are many good people with physical abilities that can be good at the martial arts, but you find that the average person that makes it to the Shodan level is someone who really isn't an athlete. Also, you have to be humble at some point. Okay, you have to sort of check your ego at the door and leave it there and not pick it up when you do leave the dojo. All right, you work out with people on a level. If you're a very high rank and you're working out with a low rank, you bring yourself to work out at third level. So you have to bring yourself up and down, and you're helping, with courtesy to others in the dojo, inside and out. All right, and it's a hard shoes to fill. Okay, and there are very few people that can do it. I find what happens with people is at some point when they do get technically good, their ego sort of has a tendency to go to the ceiling. Okay, and within the martial arts, no matter how good you are, there's always someone a lot better, and finally you discover that you're going to get brought down to earth real quick, okay, when you get cocky in the wrong place. And if your instructor's training you properly with the proper attitude when he's teaching or she's teaching, then you can sort of correct that a little bit, okay, and hopefully keep people on the right track. The turnover in a martial arts system depends on if a person has a preconceived idea what it's going to be like when they first come in. When I started, I had no idea what I was getting involved in. I don't even think I saw a martial arts movie, let alone a martial arts magazine. I just sort of, martial arts, that sounds pretty good. Karate, those guys are pretty good. So I went and watched the class, and I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. So I think I'll get involved in this. And I find if you have a preconceived idea and set a goal on what you want to look like or do at a certain point in that martial arts career, when you reach that goal or you go over that line, then all of a sudden you disappear. And I've seen a lot of people maintain the rank of showdown or first degree black belt, and in their mind that was their goal, and they left. As well as, you know, people at some point say, well, you know, this isn't for me. And it's not for everybody. And a lot of the people that come in think, well, maybe I'll give it a try, and it's not for me, but they say, hey, I really like this, and they stay. And it's hard. There's a big turnover, and it's not any different than any other sporting, organized sport. You know, I think maybe it's probably a little more turnover, but as far as the injury is concerned in a martial arts system, it's way down. Okay, we have next to no injuries in this system at all, considering the amount of contact that we would get involved in at a later point. I think this system has got one foot up on a lot of other systems where there's contact involved, and it's not going to be a shock to your system if you do have to defend yourself. You're used to having some contact. If your system never gets touched, then there's a chance that it'd be a good shock to your system, and you would react poorly to that slight bit of pain. You know, we're used to, you know, dealing with some discomfort. I accept students here once a year, okay, the month of October, and mainly because we're a club, not a business, okay, and the tuition definitely pays the rent, and we're very happy with that. I'd like to see everyone that comes in the door get to the level of showdown and stay and work out. I don't want anyone to set goals. I want them just to be here and work out and have a good, comfortable number in the dojo. Like a good attitude to be here.
I started teaching Taekwondo here in Bridgewater about 4 years ago. I started with 2 students. They happen to be roommates of mine. And from that, I went and I started teaching at D&D Fitness Center in Hebville. From D&D Fitness Center, the gym closed down. I had to find an alternate location. I moved to Hebville Elementary School, where I taught just kids. And I also had a school in the basement of a Quick Mart. And it was very limited space, and I had people always trying to tell me, you know, you should go bigger, this can do well. And last October of '93, I ended up here on King Street, and the club's doing well, doing very well. Taekwondo teaches self-control, self-discipline. That goes back to what happened to me. I became a person who didn't have to fight to prove themselves. I became a person who could easily walk away from a fight. This is the self-control and self-discipline aspect of it. Of course, it's a great self-defense as well. Right now, Taekwondo is an Olympic sport, which makes it unique among other martial arts, except for judo and boxing. We've been granted full medal status for the year 2000 in Australia, and in Atlanta we're still going to be a demonstration sport. But there are 2 aspects to Taekwondo, one being the sport aspect and one being self-defense aspect. What I would like to have in this club is 100 dedicated students. Now, what I mean by dedicated is people who wish to become black belts. What I do find a lot of is people join on a whim. They say, well, gee, I'd like to try that, and let's go down and have some fun for a week, and then they never come back. I do have right now a certain number of very dedicated students, but I would like to have more. I always like to have more. And also what I'd like for this location is to have a judo instructor. You know, that's something you and I got into earlier talking about. I would love to have somebody who teaches judo come in, bring judo to the area, okay, bring it to the general knowledge of the public. I taught here for 4 years and nobody knew it until I moved to this location. Then now it's wide open. I've got lots and lots of recognition. Okay, the same could happen for judo, and I'd like to change it not only to a Taekwondo club, but to an all-Olympic martial arts club. Out of the 4 years that I've been teaching in Bridgewater, there have been no injuries, none to really speak of. Okay, there's, of course, it's a contact sport. You know, it's like any other contact sport, whether it's hockey or what have you. There are going to be some injuries, but the fact is that it's a contact sport with a difference. They're learning self-defense. Okay, parents really don't have to worry the martial arts in the area are very good. I know the instructors personally. They all stress you do not go out and pick fights. So. A good martial artist would be somebody that can pass on the art, not only in a technical form, but be able to pass it on from student to student. Somebody who personifies the ideals like courtesy, integrity, don't pick on the weak, indomitable spirit. Okay, things like that would make a good martial artist. Somebody who doesn't back away when they can't, and somebody who can walk away when they can. Somebody like that would be a good martial artist. A lot of it is upstairs, and that's built over a period of time. Okay, like I say, you do get the odd student that comes through the door thinking that they're going to just learn how to fight, but you also learn self-control, self-discipline. You are taught an indomitable spirit, never give up. Okay, and it is reflected in their schoolwork, their outside life. This year, actually 1995, in May, the Taekwondo Nationals are being held right here in Nova Scotia, in Halifax. A master, Charles Carabin, 6th degree black belt, is holding the Nationals. He's hosting it. And anybody who wins at these Nationals gets to go on to the World Games. And I believe they're in Cairo, in Egypt. And because of our recognition now in the Olympics, we're under this big umbrella. Anytime a sport manages to get into the Olympics, it gains world recognition. I mean, there's some sports that are in there that you can't see really why somebody would want to do them. Tiddlywinks, for example. You know what I mean, though? There's some sports in there that people would just say, well, why do they do that? But once they're in the Olympics, they get worldwide recognition. Right? So the same thing has happened with Taekwondo. Since we've gotten our full Olympic status, we've become actually the fastest growing martial art. I mean, when you're really thinking about martial arts and stuff like that, and you can have a chance to go to the Olympics, what can you choose? So anytime a sport falls under the auspices or under the umbrella of the Olympics, it does a lot for that sport. And Taekwondo is the same way. And this was announced, I believe, in September in Paris, that Taekwondo would be a full medal sport in the year 2000. Taekwondo is the modernized version of an ancient Korean martial art, which was blended with actually a Japanese style called Shotokan. The ancient Korean style was Taekyon, and it was mainly just a foot fighting art. Maybe that's where the misnomer of Taekwondo only being for feet came from. But what happened was a man by the name of General Choi Hong-hee, he was in the Korean Army, North Korean Army, and he was shipped off to Japan in the late 40s, early 50s. He was a master of Taekyon. And what happened when he got there was he saw the Japanese art of Shotokan, and what he did was he took Taekyon and he mixed it with Shotokan, and that's where the hand techniques came from. And just recently, actually, as a side note, I had the occasion to train with Shotokan second dan, and he was here in Lunenburg with one of the films that was being filmed here, and very, very similar to what we do. Right down to the forms, very similar. Very, very similar. And this is because of the blending of the two arts. Now what happened was in the early 1950s, Taekwondo was voted in as Korea's national sport. Like we have hockey as our national sport, Korea's national sport was Taekwondo. And it was given the name Taekwondo, which means the way of breaking or attacking with the hand and foot. Okay. So right from the name of Taekwondo, it's a misnomer that we don't have any hand techniques. Now, in the 70s, in the 1970s, when Taekwondo was first attempting to get into Olympic status, the World Taekwondo Federation was formed. The current president of the World Taekwondo Federation is Dr. Onyong Kim, and he's actually one of the vice presidents of the International Olympic Committee. Through his pushing and helping Taekwondo gain recognition as a sport as well as a martial art, in 1988 we were included in the Seoul Olympics in Korea. Each country gets to choose a sport which they can put in as a demonstrator sport, and Korea chose Taekwondo. Now, in the Barcelona Olympics in 1992, Barcelona, also who has a very good Taekwondo team, chose Taekwondo as their demonstrator sport. Now, in 1992, Atlanta, Georgia, United States, also with a very good Taekwondo team who can do very well in international competition. They also chose Taekwondo as their demonstrator sport. It all came down to who could win medals. So each team, each country was picking Taekwondo because they all felt that they could win medals in it and bring recognition to their country. Now, as of September of this year, Juan Antonio Samaranch, the president of the International Olympic Committee, has announced that we are full Olympic status for the year 2000 in Australia.
Okay, the club started in Bridgewater in about 1979. And it started with master, or guru, as we say in the Philippines, Manny Bueno. And Manny came here from the Philippines, via New Glasgow, via Ontario. And Manny's roots, born and brought up in the Philippines, trained as a youngster in the Philippine martial arts. As he got older, he trained in basic karate styles and so on. When he arrived here in 1979, 1980, opened martial arts club, nobody knew anything about arnis, Philippine arts, because everything was kung fu karate at that time. And Manny went, in order to satisfy the customer, I guess, when I first joined, it was basically a karate style. Did a lot of hard blocks and things like that. And as he progressed, and as an artist, I guess as Bruce Lee was one of the founders of progressive martial arts, that you took things that worked and you discarded things that didn't work. And a lot of his training is rooted in a lot of his philosophy, I should say, is rooted in the Philippine arts. We started, and each year we tend to progress back or forward into actual Philippine arts and get away from traditional karate as such. We don't even call ourselves karate, we are Philippine artists.
Arnis Tamano is one chapter of the Arnis system, and Manny Bueno is a 6th degree master. We also have a 6th degree master in Toronto, Arnis Abanico, another chapter of the Arnis system, and we study some concepts of the Abanico system as well.
Goals that we have as instructors, as members of this club, as members of the community, we look to be good ambassadors not only of Arnis Tamano and Philippine martial arts, but we look at our people when they go out in the world to be good ambassadors of martial artists in the community as a whole, to portray martial artists as good citizens, not a bunch of highly trained killers or tournament sparrers or something like this. We've taken long, hard looks at where we're going to go with this club and the people that we have in it. And each year we analyze the people we have. The people that are here realize that they're under scrutiny all the time. We have, in the last 3 years, expelled 1 student for misbehavior in the outside world. We have 1 other on probation. We've had people who have been denied testing for no other reason than their attitude and the way they conduct themselves, and they've been given notice. So we look at how we're presented in the community. We want to present good people, good citizens, people who are training for their own self-fulfillment. We ask people when they join, why they join. We fill out an application form, why are you here? If we get back an answer, I want to learn how to fight, we weed those people out. We either tell them up front, that's not the reason to be here. If they insist they want to be here, well then they either change their attitude or they're gone. We don't want to train people to go out and look for a fight. That's not our goal. We want to train people to be stronger, better, healthier, more self-confident, to be able to, if the situation arises, to defend themselves in a ever-hostile world, but to know when not to have to use it. Our philosophy, my philosophy, and I know the other instructors in this club, same philosophy, is a good martial artist. The definition is someone in a street situation who can walk away knowing that they didn't have to walk away, knowing that they could defeat that person, they don't have to. That to me is a good martial artist. A good martial artist is someone who doesn't wear a t-shirt or a jacket with his club pressed on it out in public, saying, I'm a martial artist, look at me. A good martial artist is someone who maybe works alongside you or me, and I don't know he's a martial artist. Martial artist in the martial arts community is not secret, but it's a very personal thing. We had a great deal of problem in discussing doing this video in the first place because of individuals' concerns with not being portrayed in the wrong way in the community with people they live with and work with. Martial arts is a personal thing. Martial arts is something that if you are true to martial arts, you don't need to go out, tell your friends and neighbors, look what I'm doing, look at me. You don't need to wear the t-shirt, you don't need to wear the hat or the jacket that says, I'm a martial artist, I take this style or that style. It's between you, yourself, your instructors, and your fellow classmates in the dojo. That's all it concerns. If you feel you have to go out and tell the world, well then you're in it for the wrong reason. I've told people in the past who've come to this club and said, how long until I get my black belt? My answer is you can have it today. Any sports shop will sell you one. That's all you're here for, go out and buy one. This is not why we're here. Martial arts training teaches people to fight. There is no diplomatic way to put that. That is one of the aspects of martial arts training, not the primary function. The martial arts in the hands of a trained individual can be dangerous. I think that parents, considering having their children go into a martial arts club and train, should consider the responsibility. It's not a babysitting service. It's not something to do 2 or 3 nights a week to keep the children occupied. It's a great deal of responsibility in training someone, and for you as a student, you should understand that it is a great deal of responsibility in learning any system. Every martial arts system has very many positive points. There's very many dangerous things that they can teach you. In the hands of someone who's not responsible, the typical situation in the playground, on the street, can land someone in a lot of trouble. This situation in this country, in the United States, laws that pertain to unnecessary force. It doesn't matter in a situation whether you are the intended victim or not. If you have training and if you utilize undue force, if you injure an individual, you become the person who's being charged. So there's a great deal of responsibility in training, there's a great deal of responsibility in receiving training. Parents should look at the responsibility of sending someone, and they should find out about the school, they should talk to the instructors, they should find out how their son or daughter is doing, they should ask questions. This is not a situation where you bring him or her the first night, sign that child up, and ask when they come home, how are you doing? Find out, because martial arts can be a very important, can be a very beautiful part of their life. But it has to be something that they want to do. It has to be something they want to do for the right reasons.
History of kickboxing is not that old as some ancient martial arts are. It was a blend of Western boxing and Eastern full-contact karate. The karate people found that some of their techniques lacked hands, good hand techniques, and the boxers thought, hey, it'd be greater if we had 2 more weapons to use. So they put a blend together and came up with kickboxing, where it's an equal blend of hands and feet. You have the boxing ability of a boxer and the foot speed and kicking actually of say a person that's in Taekwondo. It's a good blend, 50-50. Our club is, again, a newer club. I've been practicing the martial arts since 1980, and when I came to the point that I wanted a little more than the point tournaments and things, I decided to go into kickboxing. And as soon as we did that, we formed the BKA, the Bridgewater Kickboxing Academy, and had numerous tournaments in Halifax and then in Bridgewater as well. And when the organization went under through financial problems, it dissolved, and I've been in contact with people in New Brunswick and PEI and Newfoundland and Sydney that have clubs, and they're interested in bringing it back. So I decided to open a kickboxing club, just strictly kickboxing. The only one in, as far as I know, mainland Nova Scotia that has a club. I know there are some people who are practicing in Halifax, but they're not under an organized club. So my club's about a year and a half old. In a lot of tournaments now, it's stop action. You score a point, you stop, and the point's awarded. In kickboxing, you're in the ring like a boxer is for a full time from bell to bell. If you get hurt and you're not in shape, you're going out. So it's really important to really have the fuel in there that you need to keep your body going for the full 2 minutes, and then 3, 5, 7, 9, or 12 rounds, whatever the length of fight you're fighting. Where mine's a non-traditional style, it's really important that I show people and teach people as individuals. Some people are naturally gifted with very, very good hands. Other people aren't. I always try to build on their attributes. I have some people in my class right now who are fantastic kickers, just out of this world kickers. Their hands don't match up, but we're working on it. And vice versa. Some people are fantastic boxers and box for years. They have no idea what to do with their feet. We're starting to work with them as well. To put together a total package has to be 50-50. I find it makes a more rounded fighter if you're equally as good with your hands as you are with your feet. You have 4 weapons as opposed to 2. In kickboxing, you have to score 8 kicks per round. Now, all depends on who the ring judges are. They have to land with a certain power, or there has to be an effort, a true effort to land a kick. So, all the ones I fought in, you had to land 8 kicks around with power. It wasn't just a touch, it had to be a strong kick. And if you don't, you get marked down points. So it's not like a boxer can go in there and fight in kickboxing and win unless he knocks a person out, because he's just going to lose points every round. If you only do 4 kicks around, the first round, you lose 4 points that round because you missed 4 kicks. So a person who's really good with the hands also has to be able to throw kicks, because if they don't, they're just going to get marked down on points. Philosophies are things that we do a little different, and we prefer not to do any kind of forms of any kind. Ours is all hands-on practical training. It's all sparring technique. It's all full contact sparring. My higher belts do full contact sparring, fully geared boxing gloves, headgear for training, club chest protectors, foot gear, cuffs, mouthpieces, a whole bit. Forms aren't going to help you in the ring when you're in there, so we don't do them. We, like I say, all hands-on practical training. Great as individual people. Big, small, large makes no difference to me. Everybody's able to do something. So. If it's a well-equipped club, they have enough equipment that if you're up that you're going to spar and things, they have extra equipment like gloves and foot gear for you. And all depending how hard they're going, some people prefer to wear headgear. I mean, my higher belts will, some of them won't. It's their choice. They're all adults in my class. That it's up to them if they want to or not. People have to realize that when they come, it is a contact sport, and no matter how good the teacher is or what's happening, there is going to be some injuries eventually. Okay, somebody's going to move the wrong way. Somebody's not going to pull a punch or a kick fast enough, or you're going to move into it. I don't think, and I really hope people don't do it intentionally to hurt people in their own club, to prove that they're the best in the club. I consider the people in my club as equipment, almost, for the other people. They're training partners. You don't have that training partner, you heard that training partner can't come, that's one less piece of equipment you have to work with. So if you work with somebody who's 6 feet one night, the next night you work with somebody that's 5 feet. So you get different ranges and different reaches and things like that. So it is probably safer than hockey. It's probably less soft contact. A lot of people come with their chip on their shoulder, and those are the people you see change probably the quickest. Then they realize that they may be tough where they think they're tough, or they're not tough at all when they get in there, and the attitude has to change to be in class. And if they're doing sparring and things like that, and all it takes is a few good shots, and you see their chip change really quick. But also, on the other hand, you have people come in who are very, very shy. And when those people are shy, you see them start to come out of their shell. And that's really good to see. You see people's self-confidence building up and building up. That's probably one of the best things I like about the martial arts, is that it builds self-esteem. I also work with people in my club through drug dependency and things like that. I've had a bunch of people from the Farmington group. It's a group in exchange people from Europe and Sweden and things that come here that either are addicted to drugs or alcohol, or they're troubled children in street gangs and things like that. And they come to my club while they're here. And it's the greatest thing. The instructors with them say they see the people turn around 110%. It's that makes you feel really good when you know that you're doing something, giving them another positive way to channel their energy, other than out in the streets or with drugs or with alcohol. And the way things are now today, I think it's very important that everybody learns how to defend themselves. And because the world's not getting any better, and more things are coming closer to home and things like that, and women especially. I like to see, I have a high percentage of women in my class, and I like to see that as well. So. Some goals I'd like to get for my club is to get it recognized, kickboxing back in this area again. I think when it was here before, the fans really appreciated it, and when it closed down, I felt bad for the fans in Bridgewater. It's a very strong boxing town. They've always had roots in boxing. Bob Grace and his brothers, and Tremaine and those guys, and that's way back when. I don't even know when that was. It was a long time ago. And it flowed right into the kickboxing. When the kickboxing was here, we were getting fantastic turnouts. And to get kickboxing back going again, because it's very popular in other parts of the world, in the States, North America, and Canada. I'd like Nova Scotia to start being recognized for kickboxing as well.
Was the individual who shook the martial arts world in the 1960s. Bruce Lee was an avant-garde in that he asked the questions why, as opposed to saying, okay, I'll train this way because my father did, my grandfather, and his great-grandfather before him. Bruce Lee, and he looked at different styles, and he took what worked for him. He took a lot of his philosophy from the Philippine arts. He became good friends with Dan Santos, learned the sticks, learned the nunchucks, learned weapons, learned boxing hands, learned trapping, different trapping than his Wing Chun trapping, learned Kali from the Philippine arts. Bruce Lee was the person who allowed martial arts to progress beyond where it had been. Bruce Lee was the individual who said, it's okay to experiment. It's okay to look for things. It's okay if you're a Wing Chun. It's okay to look at Taekwondo. It's okay to look at the Uchi-Ryu and look at the good things that those styles have to offer and say, why can't I use those? That works with my system. Why can't I use that? And he is basically the father of modern North American or European martial arts.
Unfortunately, Bruce Lee died when I was very young, but I've seen his movies, read his books and things. There's no denying the man was quick and he knew what he was doing. When you say martial arts, the first name that pops off everybody's tongue is Bruce Lee. I think he had a positive influence on because he was the first one to break away from the norm. Up to that point, it was all tradition, tradition, tradition. He broke that down and said it's all right to take from all styles, because all styles have their weaknesses, all styles have their strengths. He used the strengths, discarded the weaknesses from each style, and came up with Jeet Kune Do. And that really brought the martial arts to the forefront of society. He brought the martial arts out of the dark ages where they're just studied in temples and things like that, right in everybody's living room, every week on the Green Hornet show. And that's, I really think, when the karate boom and the martial art boom really took place. It's when he was in his prime. People started seeing him on TV and said, that's neat, I want to learn that. And there's probably nobody to date that's done more for the martial arts than Bruce Lee.
I mean, that's all you hear is Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee. The one positive thing I think Bruce Lee did was to get people to focus on the martial arts, to take a look at it. Other than that, he was probably very good in his own right. Okay, but I'm very tired of hearing about ghosts. All right, Bruce Lee's a ghost. Bruce Lee died, I think, what, 72? Was it 72? You probably know better than me, Scott, about that. But my instructor, Jim Maloney, he sparred with Bruce Lee. He said Bruce Lee was a very good fighter. The only problem that he never had very good lateral movement. He liked to stand there and try to go toe to toe instead of shifting and moving. And our system has a lot of lateral movements. From everything that I've heard about him, his ego got in the way. He was a showman. He was an actor first. He was there he wanted to make money. Okay, and that's what he did after he died. Okay, but other than that, anything positive, I can't see anything positive. When you pick up a magazine and you see Bruce Lee's picture on the cover, I put it back.
One time in a magazine, they called Bruce Lee the Wizard of Oz, and they spelled it A-H-S, as in ah. Everything he did on movies in the film was so beautiful. You know, everybody is still trying to copy it and can't. The man was a wizard, and as far as his ideas go, you can't ask for a better idea. As a teacher myself, I follow his methods in a way, if somebody can throw one kick but they can't throw another kick, why use the kick that they cannot throw? So his principle of using what you can and throwing away what you can't, okay, that's what I teach as well. Like I said, Taekwondo has 154 kicks. In fighting, a fighter might use 8. You know, I can teach all 154, but if I cannot use them in a fight, why use them? You know, so as far as that goes, I truly believe in his principles that way. And as far as his contributions to martial arts, they're still going on. People are looking at things on film, like Enter the Dragon, and the whole mirror scene of that movie, and they're going, oh, wow, Wizard of Oz. Have on one side, they bring general knowledge of martial arts. But on the other side, you have the violence and I think the most recent is the Power Rangers. Okay, with the Power Rangers, you have a lot of kids trying to imitate, and they kick and punch each other without realizing the consequences. So it goes both ways. You have of course the general. Everybody now knows about martial arts through TV and movies. But then on the other side, do you have your misuse?
Garbage. Okay, it's true. As far as this, what's this latest one? This Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It should be put off the TV and not be allowed on at all, because it's given everyone, as well as children, the wrong idea what martial arts is all about. And they're emulating that, on TV. I mean, the children are no different than baby animals in the animal kingdom. They whatever the adults do, they do. They learn by watching adults. As far as the movies, I think I've only seen 2 good martial arts movies. One was the first Karate Kid movie, which was really good. It got a lot of good points across, but the only one drawback it had was that it sort of made people think that in a short period of time they would be able to go in there and wrap a black belt around their waist and be something, and it takes a long time. The other martial arts movie that I really liked was called Iron and Silk, and it was about a true story about a gentleman who went to China and his experiences there learning martial arts. And the book was much better because it was a lot more involved. But those 2 movies, the rest, as far as the Van Dammes and Chuck Norris movies and Seagal, I mean, it's just a major ego, and it's all about bucks. Okay, it's got nothing to do with the real martial arts.
That I find on the negative side that young people that don't have the guidance along with them when they're watching these movies may tend to view martial arts too aggressively, to favor the wrong aspects of it. With guidance, though, I feel there are movies on the market today, and a couple of them come to mind. Steven Seagal's, for instance. Steven Seagal is a very talented martial artist, and some of his movies are good. They try to control the amount of sensibilities involved in it. However, there are a lot on the market that depict just the violent side of it and not the benefits of martial arts training.
In one aspect, that it gets people interested, and people have to have the interest to make anything a success or to get them motivated to try it. If they've never seen a movie or heard of it, they're not very likely to try it. But with all the shows that are on TV and movies that are out there, I mean, you say karate now, everybody knows what you mean. The bad aspect is it's given a lot of false hopes to people and a lot of false conceptions about what can be done and things. Sure, you can do fantastic kicks, say like Van Damme and stuff like that, but I guarantee you get hit by a kick like that, you're going to go down. You're not going to keep bouncing up 5 or 6 times to keep getting hit the same way again.
Misgivings people have about the martial arts. I think that when people call me on the telephone, one of the first things they say is that, well, I'm going to get in shape first, and then I'm going to come and join up. And what happens is you work at your own pace within a martial arts club, and that gets you in shape. You don't have to be in shape. All right. If you have any type of physical problems, you should probably talk to your physician about it, because it's only common sense. Some of the other misgivings they have, they think that they're going to be this amazing thing, killing and fighting machine within a week or 2 or a month or 2. I've been at this for approximately 15 years, and I'm not a mean killing machine yet. So it's nothing that happens overnight. Parents' concern basically is just that their children are become much more aggressive, and they're going to be doing things at a better technical level than the other kids are in the playground already. Okay, and there's a lot of things out there, TV and movies, that kids shouldn't be watching, and they try to emulate that. And I try to get the parents to understand that that's not what we're doing. We're teaching the children how not to fight in here. Okay, how to turn the other cheek and walk away the best they can.
Or the statement made, I am too old or I am too young to learn martial arts. As far as being too young, that's possible. We find with young people, often they're not physically or mentally ready for this type of training or to keep up with their fellow student. They're disruptive. Their attention span is too short. I would recommend not being considered for training until age 12 to 15, depends on the person. Some mature a little earlier than others. As far as too old for martial arts training, there is no such thing.
I had to join when I was 7 years old. My mother and father, from seeing martial arts movies, felt that all I was going to do was beat up my brother and sister. Okay, that's of course not what it's about. I don't know if I knew that when I was 7. I definitely didn't know it when I was 20 when I joined. but that's definitely not what martial arts are about. But those are some of the misgivings, is that people feel that we're a bunch of bullies, all we want to do is learn how to fight, and that's not it. That's not it at all. After
a week, you'll be able to do, say, flying kicks like Van Damme or the move Steven Seagal does. And that's, again, that's a bad point of it, the movies. They don't realize the amount of time these guys have in. Like, when you crawled, you just didn't one day get up and run. You had to learn how to walk and take one step after another. Same thing as a martial art. You take it building block by building block until you have what you want.